Once upon a time, there was a little girl who had a new pair of red shoes. She also had a grandmother who was very fond of her. One day, grandmother made her a pretty red cape with a hood, and the little girl liked the matching outfit so much that she wore it everywhere she went. Everybody called her Little Red Riding Hood. One day, Little Red Riding Hood was helping her mother bake cupcakes. They decided it would be nice if she took some to her grandmother, who had not been well. So while the little girl was getting on her red hood, her mother put some cakes and a jug of lemonade into a basket and covered them with a clean white napkin. Then Little Red Riding Hood said goodbye and set out for her grandmother's house. On the way, she met a wolf.
"Where are you going, little girl?"
asked the wolf.
"And what do you have in that basket?"
"I'm going to grandmother's,"
said Little Red Riding Hood,
"to take her some cupcakes and lemonade."
"Where does your grandmother live?"
asked the wolf.
"She lives in a yellow cottage with a white door and 2 maple trees in front," she said. "It's on the other side of the forest."
"I see,"
said the wolf.
"It was nice meeting you, my dear."
And with that, he left Little Red Riding Hood and turned down another path. The little girl had no way of knowing the wolf had taken a shortcut. He wanted to reach grandmother's house ahead of her. When he got there, he knocked on the door.
"Who is it?"
said a weak voice from the inside of the house.
"It's your granddaughter, and I've brought you some cakes and lemonade,"
said the wolf.
"How nice. Just pull the latch and string and come in, dear,"
said the grandmother. So the wolf opened the cottage door and came in. In a moment, he had swallowed the grandmother. Then he put on the nightgown and cap and jumped into bed and pulled up the covers. Little Red Riding Hood, in the meantime, had stopped to pick some lovely flowers that grew along the path. When she had a nice bouquet, she began walking again and soon came to the little cottage with the maple trees. She knocked on the door, which was not quite closed.
"Who is it?"
said a voice from inside.
"It is I, Little Red Riding Hood. I have brought you some cakes and lemonade."
"Come in, dear,"
said the wolf in his sweetest voice. So Little Red Riding Hood entered the cottage, and she put the basket on the table and went over to the bed.
"How are you feeling, grandmother?"
she asked. To Little Red Riding Hood, her grandmother looked very strange indeed.
"Much better, my dear,"
said the wolf.
"Grandmother, what big eyes you have,"
said Little Red Riding Hood.
"The better to see you with, dear,"
was the reply.
"Grandmother, what big ears you have,"
said the little girl.
"The better to hear you with, my dear,"
said the wolf. Little Red Riding Hood was suddenly trembling.
"And what big teeth you have,"
she said in a small voice.
"The better to eat you with," said the wolf, and he jumped out of the bed.
But Little Red Riding Hood was quicker. Before the wolf could catch her, she ran out of the door of the cottage. The wolf ran after her. Just then a woodsman had seen what was happening. The woodsman chased the wolf out into the forest and killed him and then cut him open. And out popped grandmother safe and sound.
"What a relief,"
she said, and gave Little Red Riding Hood a big hug. Then Little Red Riding Hood, the grandmother, and the woodsman all went to the house and had a party with cupcakes and lemonade. Little Red Riding Hood was very careful after that about speaking to strangers.